How do you attract an ex back after a very passionate and quickly developed short-term relationship?
Well, most of the guys, kind of like we were talking about the body count thing, is that a lot of guys are decent at, I'm sure you guys have had this experience plenty of times, and I know you definitely because we've talked about this a lot, is that guys start out good out of the gate. But the average guy gets, what, 2 to 4 weeks, maybe 30 days sometimes?
Yeah.
And most women are going to sleep with a guy by the second or the third date. And so in the beginning, you're attracted. He seems mysterious. You're really into him. He's really into you. You hook up. And then a few weeks after that, because he starts getting really into the girl, and then he starts to lose his shit. He starts to call too much. He starts to text too much. He becomes a little possessive, a little clingy, a little needy. Tries to move things along a little quicker than you're emotionally ready for. And you go from thinking, oh, there might be something there. I might have finally found the right guy, to a few weeks later, you're like, eh. And then you just want to, get away from the guy because he turns your stomach. And so that's the experience that most guys have, and they don't understand why she's hot out of the gate for a few weeks. They may hook up once or twice, and then all of a sudden she goes cold and disappears. And what typically happens is, especially when the guy really starts to care about the girl, then he calls too much, he pursues too much, he tries too hard, because what happens is all of his fears kick in. All of his baggage, his childhood trauma, whatever his self-perception is, he doubts that girl he really likes is going to want to stick around, because it's happened many times before. And so what he tries to do is to force things. It's what I call the illusion of action, that's discussed in the book. And so as men, we're driven to take action. We're about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, overcoming challenges. But obviously with you ladies, love is allowing. You got to allow the girls to come and go. And it's got to be their idea to call and to text and to spend more time together. And they do things right in the very beginning, the first few weeks, but a few weeks later, they drive her away. And so, like in this case, more often than not, this guy is super excited about a girl, really liked her. He's thinking, this is going to be my next girlfriend. I haven't felt this way in so long. And then a few weeks later, she's like, there's no chemistry, there's no spark. I just think he was a friend. He texts her all the time, and it's like 50-50 contact initiating, and then he gets friendzone. And so in that case, you want sex and romance, but she's saying platonic friendship only. And if you love yourself and you value yourself and you have self-respect as a man, you're not going to sit stuck in friend zone. You're not going to become her emotional tampon. You're not going to be there for her. You're not going to go over and make sure she's got plenty of air in the tires in her car, change her car battery, or unclog her toilet or her sink, which was a guy just did that recently, had a date with this girl. And then at the second date, he was like, he had a date set. The second date was already set. And then he goes over to unclog her sink. And then it was some weird, awkward moments. I don't know if you remember that video. And then she cancels the date. Like the day of, they're actually supposed to go on the second date. She canceled just because of his behavior was so unattractive when he came over to unclog her sink. And I was pointing out, I was like, if you're going to go over there and do that, obviously I wouldn't recommend it. But the fact that you're going over there like Mr. White Knight, and she's inviting you over, you have the potential to seduce her. But instead he goes over there, it's like, I got to be Mr. Respectful. Let me just, unclog her sink. And so he's kind of in the vibe of, he's looking for attaboy. He's like, oh, mommy, praise me because I unclogged your sink. So he leaves thinking, hey, what a good dude I was. And she's like, eh. So she cancels the date with him and then probably calls Chad Thundercock to beat up her insides. And so in these cases, it's you're in an impasse. You're at a negotiation. She says blue balls and friendship and emotional tampon, and you're going to say, no thanks. I'm interested in sex in a relationship potentially, or I'm into sex and romance. I'm not into just being friends. It doesn't work for me. But hey, call me if you change your mind. And then you walk away and you never look back, because it's pointless to keep calling and texting and trying to convince a woman to change her mind or to feel something different. She has to feel that your strength, that you're not going to tolerate being friend zoned. You're not going to tolerate being cut off from access to the box. You're just going to go find another box. And oftentimes, as the days and the weeks go by, the girl goes, "Huh, what happened to Bob? I haven't heard from him. He was kind of nice." Especially if she goes out on a date with a guy and the guy is just a total douche or a jerk, and she's upset and she starts thinking, I haven't heard from Bob in a couple of weeks. He really was a pretty good dude. He's like, I wonder why he hasn't called. Did he meet somebody else? I wonder why he gave up. I wonder why he went away. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I was impatient. Maybe I judged him harshly. And then you get on the phone with your girlfriends, your mom, hey, this happened. And the next thing you know, Bob gets a hey text. And so then you should be following the script that's in 7 Principles Get an X Back, which is you told her the last time you were together, if she changes her mind, to get in touch. Well, she's not going to get in touch and say, hey, I changed my mind. Let's go back to sex and romance. She's going to basically get in touch and go, hey, or she's going to send you a funny meme or something silly, or hey, what are you doing? Something like that. If she's texting or calling at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, all you really need to say is just come over. Because she's calling you that late, she's thinking about a booty call. She comes over, hang out, have fun, hook up. That's it. And then from that point forward, let her do 100% of the reaching out. Because in that way, she'll start to come back at her pace. As her feelings grow and she becomes more attracted and more interested, which is something that she does on her own, typically away from you. Then as the weeks go by, you start out, maybe you see each other once a week, and then you start hooking up again. And then like she starts calling or texting every other day, and then now you're seeing each other 2 or 3 times a week and hooking up. And then she starts, I left my, did I leave my eyeliner over there? Did I leave my mascara over there? I think I may have left my lipstick right on your dining room table. Like she knows exactly, I think I left my earrings there. Obviously on purpose. Gives her a reason to call and text and, that's just my stuff I left. It's not because I'm calling because I want you to beat up my pelvis again. It's really because I care about my lipstick. And so she reaches out, you invite her over, and then next thing you know, a few months later, where's this going? And then you realize that you have no more space left on your bathroom counter. You don't have any space left in your closets. There's no space for more shoes because she slowly has moved in over the months. And that's just kind of how things naturally happen when women like you. They come up with reasons to get in touch with you, and you as a man, you just create the next opportunity for sex to happen. You let her come back to you, because what happened was when his emotions became engaged, he thought, I'm not worthy. She's not going to love me. She's probably going to blow me off just like all the others once she really gets to know me. And so he tries to force himself into your life. In this case, when he just backs off and does nothing, it's his inaction that makes him attractive, because you guys are like, what's going on with him? Is he fucking somebody else? Does he not like me anymore? He seemed to be so into me a few weeks ago, and now he doesn't seem to care. Why is that? And she talks herself into liking you more, and then she's got to get in touch with you and make it easy for you to spend time with her so you can rekindle things. But you have to let her come back to you at her pace. Because as her interest goes up, she'll call more, she'll text more, you'll see her more, and it'll eventually get to the point where she's stuck to you like a sucker fish, and she's complaining that you're not having enough sex with her. And it's a good problem to have. Because most guys have the opposite problem.
Yeah,
most guys are like, there's a pussy embargo, Corey. You got to help me.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't show up to her house unannounced at midnight. Yeah. And do not mention the girlfriend word on the second date.
Yeah.
No. What was it? I was talking to a guy. It's like last August. And it was right before my birthday. I had matched with him, and then I was he asked me what I was doing on my birthday. So I was like, we're going to go play Dirty Bingo at the Den. And lo and behold, remember Jocelyne? He showed up.
Yeah.
He showed up and at the table and was trying to get me a drink. But Pete was on his way to my birthday party, which is my ex. And his sister was there at my birthday party too, and I was like, "That's okay." I was like, "Not right now. We're having family girls time."
So this was an ex-boyfriend of yours?
The guy I was I hadn't even met him yet, but I told him what I was doing for my birthday. I didn't expect him to show up.
Because you and Pete were broken up at that time.
Yeah,
But he was coming to your birthday party.
Yeah, we've been
And so
friends.
this was a new prospect.
Kinda, I guess, but I was just kind of talking, and he just showed up because I didn't.
Was he drinking?
Who?
The guy?
I guess he showed up with
because
one.
he'd been tipping back.
No,
a few?
he said he's like, well, I might show up if I get back from my trip early, and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think he was actually going to show up.
Oh, so you gave him the green light to show up.
Well, I didn't know. I was like, oh, I didn't think he was going to show up. I didn't really invite him.
I'm innocent.
I said, I'm
innocent child of God.
I didn't invite him. I said,
got
that's
my
what I'm
boyfriend
doing.
there and his sister there, and I just said, oh, shucks, come on by. That'll be fun.
No, I don't know. I didn't think he would actually come. I was just like, oh, that's what I'm doing for my birthday. And then I just didn't say anything else. And then he showed
What
up.
did Pete think about that?
Oh, he didn't, nothing. He was not there yet.
Oh, okay. So it happened.
So
did he
I
hear
was
about
like,
it?
no.
He wouldn't have been happy if he would have been there and then realized who this guy was.
No, not at all.
Because he picked up the tab that whole night. That was a big check.
Yeah. That was, for our dinner.
Yeah, it was. I was there. It was a good time.
Yeah, except we didn't get no desserts.
Yeah.
Nothing. That was bad.
Oh, that's right, because the place closed down. It was so late.
Yeah,
By the time
they
they
should
finally
have said
served us.
something. But anyway, so I finally reached back out to the guy, and or he reached back out to me. I can't remember. But then I went out on a date with him, and then I turned out I did like him because I wasn't sure at first. He was kind of I don't know. I was just not really attracted to him. But then I was like, all right, I'll give him a shot. So I did, and I actually ended up liking him slowly but surely. And then he did start doing some weird things where he would tell me, he's like, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that.
After how many weeks?
This is after 2 or 3 weeks.
This was after you stacked the body?
Yeah. Started doing that, and then it was just
Sounds very
and he would go
controlling.
on trips and stuff and come back.
He couldn't handle it. That's the problem. Is guys are really into it. They're good out the gate. You're like, I feel safe with them. There's something here. It feels good. Most women, again, sleep with a guy by the second or third date because it feels good. It feels like it's going to progress. And then a few weeks later, you're like,
Well, no, it was going good until he thought he had me. So then I would ask him, hey, let's, you want to go to dinner whenever on Saturday or something? So he'd be like, yeah. And then I would say, okay, we can do this at a certain time. He'd be like, yeah. And then he'd end up going out with his friends and then never messaging me. He did that a couple times, and I was like, what the
was this the guy that was in his 40s that was hanging out with 22-year-old dudes?
Yeah. And then
And he was partying, going to bars and stuff all the time?
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, whatever. And then I just this isn't going to work. And then he would come back.
Then you get a little clingy.
Yeah, and then I was like, but then you ghosted me. And then one day I remember I was going to go meet some friends at downtown, at the beach somewhere. And
He showed up, right?
No, that was the day he ditched me, and I seen him.
One of them, I remember you telling me he showed up. He was kind of hammering. He was grabbing you and trying to talk to you.
Oh, that was at that job. That was the same one though that he did that. That's the same guy. And then
this is the same guy. He did that.
And then
so he got more needy, more clingy, more controlling.
Yeah.
Showed up at when you were hanging out and.
Well, no, that was when
arm?
I was working. That was when I was working.
So, but he grabbed your arm and he's like, "Hey, come talk to me." And he's real controlling.
that was later. But I seen him walk. I was in one of those little Uber things, the golf cart things, circuits. And I look at, and lo and behold, I see him walking with 2 girls and some guy down the street. I'm like, oh, okay, so we couldn't hang out and go to dinner because you were too busy getting drunk with your friends. I'm like, okay, that's fun. And I was like, oh, I guess you hang out everywhere, don't you? And then he messaged me, oh, I'm coming back to where you are. And I was like, no, I'm already leaving. Sorry. And I left, and then I didn't talk to him or see him again until that one day at the restaurant I was working at. And then he got all crazy.
He was good out of the gate, and then boom.
That was a blow up. He had a blow up. I was just
He couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
you were his kryptonite.
That's his fault, though.
But why would you,
being so wishy-washy?
Yeah, wishy-washy, and then, ghost and not say anything, and then, oh, I had,
Did you say he was doing blow and stuff as well? Was he doing drugs, too?
Oh, Adderall. He couldn't.
Oh, he was snorting Adderall?
He couldn't do the, anything else because that was the doctor guy.
Oh, yes, he was a doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor who likes to snort Adderall.
Yeah.
That's definitely the guy that I
That's
want to
your
go see.
cardiologist, people.
Oh yeah, my cardiologist snorts Adderall. I'm definitely gonna take that guy seriously.
Yeah. I was just like, that's South Florida for you. Oh, Lord. Oh, and then I didn't tell you.
And then?
Me and Jack saw him out at the beach one time, and he grabbed me by my arm again, and Jack didn't see it. And he's
Jack would have ripped his head off.
yeah, he's like, you changed your hair. And I was just like, and Jack was like, hi. And I was like, this is Frank. Bye, Frank. And then Jack was like, hey. And I was like, and then I told Jack what happened. And he's like, well, you have to tell me these things before, so I'm not so nice to people. I'm like, I couldn't tell you in that moment, and I've told you about that guy before.
Yeah, you didn't want him to beat this guy up and then end up in jail.
Yeah, no. Well, the other guy can't get in fights either, because he'll get.
Oh, that's right. He's a doctor.
He'll lose his license.
Yeah, but he's still grabbing you.
Yeah, so no, but
and he's snorting Adderall.
It's snorting Adderall. Yeah.
What the hell? Where do you find these people, Jade?
I don't know.
At least you got a good one.
I do have a good one now.
Kissed a few frogs to find a good one.
Those are like toads, like bullfrog toads.
But point being is he seemed decent out of the chute.
Yeah. But
and you went based on how you felt, and then turns out this is what I was talking about the other day. How it's just so easy it's on average, the average woman by the time she graduates college has slept with easily 25, 30 dudes, and that's only 2 to 3 guys a year over the course of 8 years. These are not guys who are just going out and banging for one-night stands. These are guys, they start dating, they think, something's here. It's going to happen. He's going to be a boyfriend or future husband or whatever. And then a few weeks later, shit goes sideways. But at the end of the day, you still stack a body.
Stacking happens.
It happens.